We always win. He's our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like Him. With Him we win. He's our champion. With Him we can lose. We always win. He's our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome God, and there is none like Him. With Him we win. He's our champion. With Him we can lose. We always win. He's our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like Him. With Him we win. He's our champion. With Him we can lose. We always win. He's our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like You. With You we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? I said he's worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? Worthy, worthy. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Who is worthy of my praise? I say, worthy worthy of my praise, worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise, worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. I say, worthy of my praise, worthy of my praise. You is worthy of my praise. Hallelujah, 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 I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, I was running when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, I was praising when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was rejoicing when they said unto me, I was rejoicing when they said unto me, I was rejoicing when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was shouting when they said unto me, I was shouting when they said unto me, I was shouting when they said unto me, into the house of Yahweh. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. I was glad when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. I was rejoicing when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. I was shouting when they said unto me. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Come let us go into the house of Yahweh. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, wonderful Savior. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, Savior. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. As we stand together tonight in this our precept class, a time that we come together to fortify our belief and to educate our minds and educate ourselves concerning the truth that was hidden and taken away from us. But now as we're in a time of recovery, restoration, and revival, we find ourselves being more and more hungry and more apt to listen and to be participants in the development of our lives and the coming forth of the truth that is ours. So on tonight, as we are here in our precept class, as we come in all of our classes, we come to read our foundational scripture and to confess it. Yahushua, the son of Nun, chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. We're going to read verse 7 and then we're going to confess verse 8 together. 7 says, only be strong and very courageous to guard to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Verse 8, as it has been tailored to fit our time of confession. Let us read this together. I will not let this book of the Torah.
I will not let this book of the Torah
depart from my mouth.
Depart from my mouth.
But I shall meditate on it day and night.
But I shall meditate on it day and night.
So that I guard to do.
So that I guard to do.
According to all that is written in it.
According to all that is written in it.
For then I shall make my way prosperous.
So then I shall make my way prosperous.
And act wisely.
And act wisely.
And act wisely.
And act wisely.
And it is so. Now look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And you shall act wisely.
Now look at your other neighbor and tell your other neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And you shall act wisely.
Now look at your other neighbor across the room and say, you shall act wisely. And you shall act wisely. Now take your hand, place your hand, put it over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah.
Abba Yahuwah.
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
One more time, I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
One more time, I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
And it is so.
And it is so.
You are eternally valiant, O Yahuwah, abundantly able to save. You cause the due to descend, you sustain the living with devoted kindness. Revive the dead with abundant compassion. You heal the sick, you release the bound, and you maintain faithfulness to those who sleep in the dust, or diligence to those that are asleep in the dust. Who is like you, O Almighty, who is comparable to you? Causing death and restoring life, worshipful are you, O Yahuwah, who revives the dead. And it is so.
And it is so.
Let us recite this together. Grant us understanding, O Yahuwah, our Savior.
Grant us understanding, O Yahuwah, our Savior.
To know your ways.
To know your ways.
Circumcise our hearts to fear you.
Circumcise our hearts to fear you.
For forgiveness may redemption come to us.
For forgiveness may redemption come to us.
Distance us from pain.
Distance us from pain.
Make us to prosper.
Make us to prosper.
Make us to dwell.
Make us to dwell.
In the oasis of your land.
In the oasis of your land.
Our land.
Our land.
May you gather our scattered ones.
May you gather our scattered
from
ones.
the four extremities.
From the four extremities.
Judge our mistaken ones.
Judge our mistaken ones.
In accordance with your knowledge.
In accordance with your knowledge.
May your hand be raised up over those.
May your hand be raised up over those
who are wicked.
Who are wicked.
Who are wicked.
Who are wicked.
Rejoice the upright.
Rejoice the upright.
In the rebuilding of your city.
In the rebuilding of your city.
In the rebuilding of your people.
and the rebuilding of your people,
Yisrael,
Yisrael,
and in the repairing of your sanctuary.
and in the repairing of your sanctuary.
Allow our praise and our worship,
Allow our praise and our worship
to be acceptable in thy sight.
to be acceptable in thy sight,
And in the sprouting of the pride of Dawood your servant,
and in the sprouting of the pride of Dawood your servant,
and in the radiance of the lamp
and in the radiance of the lamp
of the son of Jesse,
of the son of Jesse,
your anointed.
your anointed.
Before we call out unto you, Abba Yahuwah,
Before we call out unto you, Abba Yahuwah,
you said you would answer us.
you said you would answer
In the
us.
mighty name of your Son,
In the mighty name of your Son,
our kinsman redeemer,
our kinsman redeemer,
Yahusha,
Yahushua,
our Hamashiach.
our Hamashiach.
Before we speak unto you, Abba Yahuwah,
Before we speak unto you, Abba Yahuwah,
you said you would hear us.
you said you would hear
In the
us.
mighty name of your Son,
In the mighty name of your Son,
our strength,
our strength,
our Savior,
our Savior,
Yahusha,
Yahushua,
our Hamashiach.
our Hamashiach.
For you are He
For you are He
who answers
at
every moment of distress,
every moment of distress,
redeeming and rescuing
redeeming and rescuing
from all hardship.
from all hardship.
Worshipful are you,
Worshipful are you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
hearer of our prayer.
hearer of our prayer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Esteem us your people, O Yahuwah, our Savior, and our prayers. Restore service to the inner chamber of the temple, and accept our prayers and the prayers of our family, Yisrael, and our offerings with esteem. And may our service and the service of our family, Yisrael, always find esteem. And may our eyes behold your compassion return to Yisrael, that we find that esteem as a whole. Worshipful are you, O Yahuwah, who restores your dwelling in the midst of us, your people, Yisrael. And it is so.
And it is so.
Thus and so. Yeah, you are awesome. Yeah, you are great. Yeah, you are worthy. Worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heaven to the earth will proclaim your grace. Yeah, you are awesome. Yeah, you are great. Yeah, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heaven to the earth will proclaim your grace. Yeah, you are awesome. Yeah, you are great. Yeah, you are worthy. Worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. Yeah, you are awesome. Yeah, you are great. Yeah, you are worthy, and you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. Yeah, you are awesome. Yeah, you are great. Yeah, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. God, you are awesome. God, you are great. God, you are worthy. And you're worthy to be praised. I'll magnify your name. All heavens and the earth will proclaim your grace. Hallelujah, let us bow here as we go before the throne of our Savior and confess this. Repeat this with me. We give you thanks that you are He who is.
We give you thanks that you are He who is.
Yahuwah, our Savior.
Yahuwah, our Savior.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
For our lives committed into your hand.
For our lives committed into your hand.
For my life committed into your hand.
For my life committed into your hand.
Our souls entrusted to you.
Our souls entrusted to you.
My soul entrusted to you.
My soul entrusted to you.
And for your miracles and compassions.
And for your miracles and compassions.
That are at every moment.
That are at every moment.
Evening and morning.
Evening and morning.
For everything.
For everything.
For everything.
For everything.
Be worshipped and exalted.
Be worshipped and exalted.
For you are sovereign.
For you are sovereign.
And there is one beside you.
And there is one beside you.
Your Son.
Your Son.
Our Savior.
Our Savior.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Our Hamashiach.
Our Hamashiach.
Worshipful are you.
Worshipful are you.
O Yahuwah.
O Yahuwah.
Most benevolent.
Most benevolent.
Is your name.
Is your name.
And it is fitting.
And it is fitting.
To give you thanks.
To give you thanks.
And it is fitting.
And it is fitting.
To give you thanks.
To give you thanks.
And it is
and it is so.
Place shalom, goodness, and baruch upon us, and mercy, loving kindness, and compassion, and baruch us all with the light of your countenance. For from the light of your countenance, O Yahuwah, our Savior, you gave us Torah and light, loving kindness, uprightness, and joy. And it is good in your eyes to baruch us your people, Yasraya, at every moment. Worship for you, O Yahuwah, who baruch us his people, Yasraya, Shalom, and it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Let us bow with this place and your peoples together. May the utterance of my mouth, and the deliberation of my heart, be desirable before you. O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. May the utterance of my mouth, and the deliberation of my heart, be desirable before you. O Yahuwah, my rock, and my redeemer. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. We have just recited Psalm 19 and 15. Let us have one more song. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruah. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruah. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruah. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruah. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruach. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your ruach. Yeah, I thirst for you, and I long to be in your presence. My soul will wait on you. Abba, draw me nearer, draw me nearer to the beauty of your
Mishnah 15 and 8. The sacrifices of the wicked is an abomination and exceedingly offensive unto you, but the prayer of the upright will be short of life. Mishnah 3 and 4. So shall we find good understanding and high esteem in the sight or judgment of the Lord and man. And it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 34 and 15. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17, the upright cry, and Yahuwah heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Somebody say he is a strong deliverer.
He is a strong deliverer.
Say he's my strong deliverer.
He's my strong deliverer.
Say it again, he's my strong deliverer.
He's my strong deliverer.
And it is so.
And so,
Acts 1 and 8, when you shall receive power after that, the Ruach HaKodesh has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and unto Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And it is so.
and it is so.
Tehillim 1 and 1. Baruch is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the unrighteous, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Moses of our Yahuwah, and he doth meditate upon it. And it is so.
And it is so.
Israel 11 and 6. But without belief it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. It takes belief to be obedient, diligent, discipline. Ayah 33 and 4, which is Job. The Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Micah 4 and 8. But truly I am full of power by the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah, and of judgment and of might, to declare unto Yaakov his transgression, and to Yisrael his sin. And it is so.
And it is so.
Yehukim and Aleph, chapter 5, verses 4 and 5. For whatsoever is born of Yahuwah overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our belief. Who is he that overcometh the world, but he that believeth that Yahushua is the Son of Yahuwah? Yehukin and Aleph, chapter 2, verses 5 and 6, 6 being the first verse. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. Verse 5, but whosoever keeps his word, truly the love of Yahuwah is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him, and it is so.
It is so.
Verse 17, and the world passes away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Abba Yahuwah abideth forever. Somebody say abideth forever.
Abideth forever.
Say it again, abideth forever.
Abideth forever.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. And it is so. As we have come together in this our pre-Sabbath class for this hour for shot portion, which is our portion for the week for our Torah and Sabbath rest portion. Our theme is Phineas or Phineas. Phineas. This is our theme, Phineas, for this Sabbath rest. And we're going to go into the book of the Midbar, chapter 25, verse 10. We're going to start from there. It's important that we understand what's taking place here. On last week, as we were in our 40th lesson, to be exact, and our theme was Balak. And we understand that Balak called upon Balaam to try to curse the children of Yasrael. And when that did not work and Yahuwah kept on polluting the children of Yasrael, then Balaam came up with a suggestion, and the reason he could come up with that is because he had dealings with the children of Yasrael before. And so he kind of knew a little bit about them. And so he told them what to do to ensnare the men of Yasrael. And so what ended up happening, they ended up joining intimately. You want to say they began to have sexual relations with the Moabites. And so they began to do things that were truly contrary to the will of Abba Yahuwah. And so we're going to find out in this portion what takes place. Now they began to do this thing. You have to understand they didn't do this where nobody could see them. They were doing these things that everybody could see because it was to provoke them to do these things. And so in this chapter, we're going to find out a lot of the things that were taking place. One of the things that is important for us to remember is that, excuse me, we don't want to follow in the footsteps of our ancestors and our forefathers. Right. We don't want to commit or do the same thing that they did. And so it's important do what they have done. And so it's important that we maintain our focus and our consistency and truth. Sure. And continue to obey scriptures, obey the scriptures and follow in them so that we can make sure that we fortify our belief. One of the number one scriptures that I truly believe that helps us as a people to be reminded of how we are to maintain our consistency and walk in the fullness of the wisdom of Yahuwah is Yahusha, the son of Nun, chapter 1, verse 8. And I love it because it gives us a command and an outline of how we are to, what we are to do so that we prosper and so that we act wisely. You have to understand prosperity is not limited to material things, right, but it is also in the prospering of our the education in our lives. It is also prospering concerning wisdom. Right. Because if we don't prosper in wisdom, then we won't prosper in our lives at all. Right. That's right. Because we want to make sure we're making the right choices and the right decisions so that we can move forward in our lives. And so that we can understand how we are to progress and move forward. And if we have to basically kind of dig ourselves in, we'll still know what we're supposed to do and not be ensnared by those things that come to ensnare our people. And so once again, we want to be a people of wisdom. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, we're going to start at verse 10. Yes, verse 10. 25. I've been Midbar, chapter 10. Chapter 25, we're going to look at verse 10. And we're going to read it. We're going to read 5 verses. And it is so.
And it is so.
and sit upon scriptures. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aharon, the Kohen, has turned my wrath away from the children of Yasrael, while he manifested much zeal for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Yasrael in my jealousy. Wherefore, say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of shalom, and he shall have it, and his descendants after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he manifested zeal for his power, and made an atonement for the children of Yasrael. Now in the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of a chief bed among the Shimeites. And it is so.
And it is so. All right, 5 verses. Now, for those that may not really know what took place, if you read over in chapter 24, up in chapter 25, and you go back some, you'll be able to see what Phinehas did. In verse 7, it says, And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Haran, the Kohen priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took the javelin in his hand, and went after the man of Yasrael into the alcove, and thrust both of them through, the man and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Yasrael. Now you have to understand what was going on. They were basically doing things that were not right. And so in front of the children of Yasrael. And so in order to stay the plague, he had to kill both of them. And so while everybody else is kind of looking, trying to figure out what to do, he just said, no, in order to get rid of it, we just gonna kill it. So he killed them. And Yahuwah approved of it. Does that mean that Yahuwah approves of what people today would look at as being murder? That wasn't murder. You have to understand, Yahuwah was, Phinehas was taking care of a situation that needed to be dealt with. It's important that we understand. That's amazing, though, when we see these things in Scripture. I was watching something last night, and it was called the John Doe. And I had said, I can't remember, but I had said I wanted to see this movie, John Doe. It was interesting, I'll put it in that manner. Movies that are interesting, they're not bad, and they're also at the same time, they're not good. But they are interesting because they bring out certain points. And one of the things that that John Doe talked about, and I don't want to spoil this if anybody is desiring to watch it or whatever, but I just want to bring a certain point out. Now you have to understand, one of the things that John Doe did was he was what we would consider he was a vigilante. Yeah, I'm about to say something else. My brain's saying one thing. He was a vigilante. And what he did was he would go and basically, for those that lost their lives and, at the hands of people that were continual offenders. And so what he did was he basically went and he tried to make the playing field balanced, because the judicial system, it wasn't basically up to what it could be. And so what he did was he killed a lot of people. And so folk were hollering murder. And I mean, the twist of it in the end is just crazy. So once again, it was interesting. It wasn't a bad movie, and I wouldn't say it was a good movie, but it was very interesting because it had a really good plot and it had a message in it. And so the thing of it was that John Doe was a person who knew all of the people that were doing things, and that those were continual offenders. And every time they would go to court, they would somehow get off. Every time they would stand before jurors, they would end up somehow serving not what they're supposed to. So these people kept getting off. And so the importance of understanding the concept was that his whole mindset, and the question was that he asked this interviewer that was interviewing him and all the rest of these people, and he chose this particular man to do so. And so when he asked him, he said, well, let me ask you a question, because he basically went after John Doe, saying what John Doe was doing was wrong. because he was basically making the playing field even, because he was going out taking murderers out, he was going out taking pedophiles out, because the system wasn't doing it. Now, understand what I am saying when it comes to things of this nature. One of the questions that they asked, well, when does murder become murder? He said, when a person defends themselves and basically that person, someone attacks you and they don't kill you, but you kill them. Is that constituted as murder or self-defense? So he was basically bringing out points that you ask yourself. Now, someone would say, what does that have to do with scripture? The reason I'm saying is because this is where a lot of people turn around and try to twist the scriptures and try to say, well, that's murder, and I know Yahuwah does not endorse murder, just like, there are a lot of things that people don't understand about Yahuwah. Now, you have to understand, his thoughts are not our thoughts, and his ways are definitely not our ways. Right. But when you begin to look at Phineas, what he did, he stopped a plague. Now, you have to understand, lust, lasciviousness, and these things are contagious. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
They are contagious. Why? Because all it takes is for somebody to get this in their soul, get this in their system, right. And now it becomes an epidemic. This is why pornography and all the rest of that stuff is on the rampage. Why? Because once it takes a hold and bites a person, guess what happens? They're hooked unless Yahuwah delivers them. And I know he can't deliver folks. And I know he is a strong deliverer. Right. And so when Phineas did this, he did it to stay the plague. He killed both of them to show an example that if you do these things, this is what's going to happen. Are we understanding?
Yes.
Now, once again, someone may say, well, is that constituted as murder? Absolutely not. It is not murder.
That's right.
He handled a situation that Yahuwah approved of, and he did. Now, once again, it's important that we understand that before we go trying to take matters in our hands, we make sure that it is his spirit, the Ruach Kodesh, telling us to do these things. If not, the consequences for your life are going to be great.
That's right.
Are we understanding?
Yes.
So it's important that you understand that in that time, that's what they did, and that's how they handled it. And I believe, once again, that we have to use wisdom in everything that we do. But so that we can understand these things, and everybody be trying to make excuses and, trying to basically justify, and they come up with all kind of crazy stuff. In other words, if Yahuwah said it and he approved of it, then shut up and let it be so.
Right.
Because he doesn't need us to try to help to explain what he desires, what he wills as justice, and what he wills as being upright and righteous ruling.
That's right.
And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, come on, let's read 5 more verses, please.
Verse 14. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianite woman, was Zimna, the son of Saul, the prince of the chief Baith among the Shimeonites.
Now, hold that thought. Now, once again, look at who was doing this. Whenever you see a person that holds a position and they step into something of that caliber, it becomes contagious.
That's right.
Because now it spreads. Because others that are under them will look at it as being okay. Now you got to remind you now, we're talking about them engaging in this act and engaging in these things. Okay? That's what we're talking about. This is what we have to be looking at. And he was the son of Saul, a prince of a chief Baith among the Shemonites. Okay, come on.
Verse 15. And the name of the Midianite woman that was slain with Cosby was the daughter of Suah. He was the head over a people and a chief Baith in Midian. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, bring trouble to the Midianites and smite them.
Now you have to understand, Yahuwah was saying, go take some ruckus to them. He said, stir up some trouble, bring trouble to the Midianites and smite them. Now once again, you have to understand, we cannot, if Yahuwah says do it, we have to do it.
Right.
And it is so.
It is
All
so.
right, come on.
Verse 18. For they troubled you with their wives, when they have beguiled you in the matter of Peor and the matter of Cosby, the daughter of a prince of Midian, their sister, which was slain in the day of the plague of Peor's sake.
And it is so. Now you have to understand, what was Peor's sake? It was Balaam who taught them to do this, so Yahuwah's wrath will fall on Yisrael. Are we understanding?
Yes.
So once again, you got to stop it. There are things that if we don't nip it in the bud, it'll continue to fester. All right, come on, let's do. We'll do 6 verses in chapter 26.
Chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass after the plague that Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe and to Eleazar the son of Aharon and the Kohen, saying, Take the sum of the children of all the children of the congregation.
Now, once again, I'm sorry. The sum, not the church. These are the sum of the congregation, not the sum of the church. All right, come on.
And of the children of Yasrael, from 20 years old and upward, throughout their revolt, fathers, Beta, all that there are able to go into war in Yasrael. And Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen spoke with them in the plains of Moab by Jordan, near Jericho, saying, Take the sum of the people from 20 years old and upward, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe, and the children of Yasrael, which went forth out of the land of Mitzrayim. Reuben, the eldest son of Yasrael, the children of Reuben, Hanah, of whom cometh of Mishpachah, of the
Canaanites,
of Palu, the Mishpachah, of the
Paluites,
of Hetzron, the Mishpachah, of the Hezronites, of Carmi, the Mishpachah of Carmites, and this.
Now look here, once again, they got to get everything together. You have to understand, anytime there is a major disruptancy or a major assault or an attack and stuff like this has to happen, the children of Yasrael had to regroup.
Right.
Just like in any time something happens, it's important that we understand that you have to regroup. And so I believe us as a people, this is a time for us to regroup. What am I saying? I'm saying we've got to come together and understand who's ready. And when I say war, I'm talking about, first of all, the war on miseducation.
Right.
Because until we declare war on miseducation, then trying to go and fight a physical war is obsolete. I mean, because you're fighting something in a people you really don't know. So when it's all said and done, I think the first war we need to engage in is the war of miseducation. Right. Then when we come and we educate our people correctly, then the next war should be economically. We should fight the war on economics. Right. In other words, that lack of financial stability and support. We need to fight that war. And then we need to come together and truly begin to support one another in our endeavors. And what do I mean by that? If you have a business and we know we're trying to get community together, whether you're in the community that we have or any other community, as long as it's Ibram and it's sticking strictly with Torah, then we ought to be able to come together and support one another. We need to truly declare war on division and all of those things. And so when we can begin to defeat those areas, then we can truly begin to prepare ourselves for war. But right now, until we deal with those things that are most prevalent, and that is miseducation, and then our lack of finances, that's when we can declare. Because see, you have to have money when you're talking about war. It takes money. This is why the government always going through the stuff they go through, and this is why taxes and all the rest of this crap is always going through. Why? Because you have to understand, to fund a war, it takes money. Right. And if you don't have the money, you talking about going to war, what you going to fight with? And what are you going to continue to supply yourself with? So you got to understand, we've got to use wisdom. Right. So the first thing we need to do is educate our people. We need to re-educate our people about who they are and their purpose. And then you have to understand, Yahuwah said that the battle is his. The only thing that really we're supposed to fight is the good fight of belief.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to fight. And when it comes time for the physical battle, he's going to prepare us and let us know. Right. But right now, we got to deal with this miseducation, because that's the mother of all violence.
Right. Yes.
And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, let's read 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Verse 7. These are the mishpachot of the Reubenites, and they that were registered of them were 43,730. And the sons of Palu, Eliab, and the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, and Dathan and Abiram. This is that Dathan and Abiram, which were famous in the congregation, who contended against Moshe and against Aharon in the company of Korah, when they contended against Yahuwah.
Okay, and it says these were which were who? Famous in the congregation, not because they had did right, but because they had done wrong. They did what? Contended against Moshe and against Aaron and the company of Korah when they contended against Yahuwah. You don't want that kind of fame.
That's right.
You do not want that kind of fame. All right, come on, let's read.
Verse 10. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah, when that company died, what time the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a sign. The descendants of Korah did not die. The sons of Shimeon after their mishpachot, of Nemuel, the mishpachah of the Nemuelites, of Yamin, the mishpachah of the Yaminites, of Yakin, the mishpachot of the Yakinites.
All right, come on, let's read.
Of Zerah, the mishpachah of the Zahites, of Shaul, the mishpachah of the Shaulites. These are the mishpachot of the Shimeonites, 22,200. The children of Gad, after the mishpachot of Zephon, the mishpachah of the Zephonites, of Haggai, the mishpachah of the Haggites, of Shunai, 15.
Yeah, Shunai.
Of Shunai, the mishpachah of the Shunites, 16. Of Ozni, the mishpachah of the Oznites, of Eri, the mishpachah of the Erites. Verse 17. Of Arad, the mishpachah of the Aradites, of Areli, the mishpachah of the Aralite. Verse 18. These are the mishpachot of the children of Gad, according to those that were registered of them, 40,500.
All right, let's read. Now, once again, they're doing a census. They're doing an account of all the people. And so this is where we're seeing the families and we're seeing their descendants. And it is so. All right, 1920, 21, 22, 23, 24.
The sons of Yehuda were Er and Onan. And Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Yehuda, after their mishpachot, were of Shelah, the mishpachah of the Shilonites, of Pharez, the mishpachah of the Pharizzites, of Zerah, the mishpachah of the Zarahites. And the sons of Pharez were Hetzron, the mishpachah of the Hezronites, of Hamul, the mishpachah of the Hamulites. These were the mishpachot of Yehuda, according to those that were registered with them, 76,500. Of the sons of Yassakar, after their mishpachot, of Tola, the mishpachah of the Tolites, of Puah, the mishpachah of the Punites. And it is so.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So we're seeing they're doing a tally and a census of the families, showing who died. Because remember, it was like one situation after the other. The wilderness, while they were there, people died. Here they come again to this place, people died. And there still was a lot of them. And even though many died, it was still a lot of them left. So once again, this is a census showing who was still left alive in that time, and it is so. All right, let's read.
Verse 24. Of Yashub, the Mishpachah of the Yashubites. Of Shimron, the Mishpachah of the Shimronites. These are the Mishpachah of Yasakar, according to those that were registered with them, 64,300. Of the sons of Zebulun after their Mishpachah, of Sereh, the Mishpachah of the Sarites. Of Elon, the Mishpachah of the Elonites. Of Yalael, the Mishpachah of the Yaelites. These are the Mishpachah of the Zebulunites, according to those that were registered with them, 60,500. The sons of Yosef after their Mishpachah were Menashe and Ephraim. And the sons of Menashe of Machir, the Mishpachah of the Machirites, and Machirite begat Gilead. Of Gilead come the Mishpachah of the Gileadites.
And it is so. Now, once again, we're seeing all this take place. Are we seeing every family and all the 12 tribes? We're seeing. Now, a lot of times what ends up happening when people say the 13th tribe, they're actually talking about Manasseh and Ephraim. But you have to understand, they were counted as, they took Joseph's place. And basically, they were counted as one, not as two. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And so, this is why we still have the 12 instead of 13, which I know a lot of people count Ephraim as a 13th tribe. But it is Ephraim and Manasseh, because Manasseh was the biggest of them because he was the oldest. But you have to understand, Ephraim was the one that the Baruchim was passed down to when it came time to place the Baruchim on them from Yaakov. And so it's important that we understand that they were a large, very Manasseh was a large tribe.
That's right.
All right. We stopped at verse 29. Oh, we're at verse 30.
Right there.
30. All right. Let's read 6 verses so you can go to 36.
Verse 30 reads, These are the sons of Gilead, of Gezer, the Mishpachah of the Gezerites, of Helek, the Mishpachah of the Helekites, and of Asriel, the Mishpachah of the Asrielites, of Shechem, the Mishpachah of the Shechemites, and of Shemida, the Mishpachah of the Shemidites, and the Hefer, the Mishpachah of the Heferites, and of Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, had no sons, but daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Bala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the Mishpachah of the Manasseh, and those that were registered of them, 52,700.
Now, once again, you have to understand, they were counted in the registry, the daughters. So we must never, never, never exclude the women, ever. And it is so.
And it is
so. All right, come on, switch.
Verse 35. Reach 36. Verse 35 reads, These are the sons of Ephraim, after the Mishpachah of the Shuthalah, the Mishpachah of the Shuthalahites, and Mechar, the Mishpachah of the Mecharites, of Tahan, the Mishpachah of the Tehanites. And these are the sons of Shuthalah of Adam, the Mishpachah of the Adamites. And it's
so. A bunch of names and a bunch of people. All right. 37. Uh, 8, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42.
verse 37, that reads, These are the mishpachot of the sons of Ephraim, according to those that were registered of them, 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph after the mishpachot. And the sons of Benjamin after the mishpachot. Of Bela, the mishpachot of the Belites. Of Ashbel, the mishpachah of the Ashbelites. Of Ahiram, the mishpachah of the Ahiramites. Of Shufam, the mishpachah of the Shufamites. Of Hufam, the mishpachah of the Hufamites. And the sons of Bela were Ard and Nadab. Of Ard, the mishpachah of the Ardites. Of Naaman, the mishpachah of the Naamanites. These are the sons of Benjamin after their mishpachot. And they that were registered of them were 45,600. These are the sons of Dan after the mishpachot. Of Shuham, the mishpachah of the Shuhamites. These are the mishpachot of Dan after their mishpachot. And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, that's a lot of people. All right, let's read. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48.
All the mishpachot of Shuhamites, according to those that were registered of them, were 64,400. Of the children of Asher after their mishpachot, of Yimna, the mishpachah of the Yimnites, of Yesui, the mishpachah of the Yesuites, of Beriah, the mishpachah of the Beraites, of the sons of Beriah, of Heber, the mishpachah of the Heberites, of Malkiel, the mishpachah of the Malkaelites, of the name of the daughter of, and the name, of the daughter of Asher was 7. These are the mishpachot of the sons of Asher, according to those that were registered of them, who were 53,400. And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, you see the daughters come up there and you're thinking, they had to have more daughters than that now. I've only seen 4. I'm like, that's all y'all had. You had some more daughters, but once again, they were doing the census, and this is what they did. It's always an important reason why they bring most women out or keep most women here. All right, come on, let's read.
Verse 51. These were the register of the children of Yasser. 600,000 and 1,730. Verse 48. Of the sons of Naphtali, after their mishpachot of Yazil, the mishpachot of the Yazilites, of Bunai, the mishpachot of the Bunites, of Yezer, the mishpachot of the Yezerites, of Shalem, the mishpachot of the Shalemites. These are the mishpachot of Naphtali according to their mishpachot. They that were registered with them were 45,400. These were the register of the children of Yasser, 600,000 and 1,730. And to these the land shall be divided for the inheritance according to the number of names. And it is so.
Come on, read.
Verse 54. 59. It reads, to many you shall give the more inheritance, and to the few you shall give the less inheritance. To everyone his inheritance be given according to those that were registered of him. Notwithstanding, the land shall be divided by lot according to the names of the tribes of their abode. They shall inherit. According to the lot shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few. And these are they that were registered of the Levites after their mishpachot, of of Gershon, the Mishpachot of the Gershonites, of Kohath, the Mishpachot of the Kohathites, of Merari, the Mishpachot of the Merarites. These are the Mishpachot of the Levites, the Mishpachot of the Libanites, the Mishpachot of the Hebronites, the Mishpachot of the Mahalites, the Mishpachot of the Mushites, the Mishpachot of the Korathites, and the Kohath begot Amram. Verse 59. And the name of Amram's wife was Yet Habal, the daughter of Levi, whom her mother bare to Levi in Mitzrayim. And she bare unto Amram Aharon and Moshe and Miriam, their sister. And it is so.
And it is so. All right. Let us read. Now, once again, everything was divided up, and it says, verse 53, unto these the land shall be divided for an inheritance according to the number of names. To many you shall give the more inheritance, and to few you shall give the less inheritance. To everyone shall his inheritance be given according to those that were registered of him. So that means that if it was a large family, then they got a larger amount. If it was a smaller family, then they got a smaller amount. But it still was to accommodate them. So nobody lost out. It was just according to the size, of their families. All right, let's read.
Verse 16 reads, And unto Aharon was born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. And Nadab and Abihu died when they offered profane fire before Yahuwah. And those that were registered of them were 23,000, all males from among old and upward. For they were not registered among the children of Yasharel, because there was no inheritance given them among the children of Yasharel. These are they that were registered by Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen, who registered the children of Yasharel in the plains of Moab by Yarden near Jericho. But among these there was not a man of them whom Moshe and Aharon the Kohen registered, when they registered the children of Yasharel in the desert of Sinai.
Now remember why? Because they all what?
They all died.
They all died. So they had to do another registry, and they had to count again, because when they did it the first time, they were counting the old heads, and they were the ones that did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So they ended up dying, so they had to redo it so that it would be fair and be right. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, come on, let's read.
Verse 65 and it reads, For Yahuwah had said of them, They shall surely die in the desert. And there was not left a man of them, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and Yahusha the son.
Now, let's look at this footnote. Only Caleb and Yahusha, who represented the tribes of Yehudah and Ephraim, were left of the first generation of the Israelites to enter the land. None of the others from that generation made it due to their lack of obedience. And it's the same with many that will go into the land due to the same. And those that make it with one foot in the congregation and the other foot in the world will not have a very good status. They will be predominantly, now this is what he says, slaves in the kingdom to Yasrael. If you want to be a slave in the kingdom, keep disobeying Torah, and this is a sure way to get slave status for eternity. You will not be condemned to eternal damnation, but you will have a status change that will affect you eternally. Only on the other hand, if you want to be have esteem status, you have to keep and obey Torah. So this is the information that this young man gives, and this is the information that many people live off of. Because if you notice, a lot of them talk about slaves, who's going to be slaves, and you even hear them talk sometimes in reference to us as a people about being slaves, saying that we're going to be slaves to them, because a lot of times people read different things and they take it and they basically say, well, this is going to apply to us. We understand.
Yes.
Once again, I read it so that we could understand some of the people's beliefs when it comes to that. I personally believe that if you don't live right, you don't do right, the scripture tells us that you will not go wicked.
Right.
Because if that's the case, then people can live however they want to and still just say, well, I'm just going to be at least slave status, at least I'll still be in there. No. And so we got to make sure we are interpreting and following in the scriptures in the manner that we're supposed to. All right, let's read, please. Chapter 27. Let's do 6 verses.
Chapter 27, verse 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Menasheh, of the Mishpachot of Menasheh, the son of Joseph, and these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, and Haglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah.
Now, these are descendants, let's hold that thought right there. These are the descendants of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the oldest son. And their papa dies. And so this is one of the descendants of Manasseh. Are we hearing? Yes. One of the sons of Joseph, his oldest son. All right, let's read.
Verse 2. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar, the Kohen, and before the princes and all the congregation, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Our father died in the desert, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahuwah, in the company of Korah, but he died in his own sin and had no sons. Verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his mishpachah, because he has no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among the brethren of our father.
Six verses. That's a inscription. That's a nun. The enlarged nun. The nun signifies life, and hence our inheritance. The daughters who had no inheritance, but their inheritance was preserved, even though there was no male counterpart. It speaks of our inheritance with Yahuwah and Yisrael that Yahuwah has preserved. So it even shows us that. Now you have to understand once again, Yahuwah is not. He is not partial.
Right.
Because the land was supposed to be divided among the children of Yisrael. All right, come on, let's read.
Verse 5. And Moshe brought their cause before Yahuwah. Verse 6. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Verse 7. The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. You shall surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren, and you shall cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them.
Now, once again, if they hadn't gotten up and done something, it might not have even gone that way. But they was like, hey, no, we want ours too. And so you have to understand their whole thing was we don't want our name to die away. We don't want him to be wiped out just because, now you have to understand, he died for doing something he wasn't supposed to. That was working on the Sabbath. But it don't pay you to be working on the Sabbath then. In there, exactly, and he falls out for himself. So, he, like they said, and understand something. Now, y'all have to understand, these young ladies understood their position, and they understood because they were paying close attention why their Abba died. So they didn't come up there with no nonsense. They went up there with actual truth, and they understood facts as well. They said, "Wait a minute, let's get this straight now. Y'all passing this out, and we understand, but we want ours. It's not fair for us not to have ours." Okay? Now it says justice and equity prevails in Yahuwah's kingdom. Women are not mistreated as in other cultures. They are highly respected and esteemed if they are obedient to Yahuwah. Even though they were the daughters of the man who was killed for sin of breaking the Sabbath by collecting wood. You can find that in Bamidbar chapter 15, verse 32. Yahuwah does not refuse his children the right of their inheritance. Now see, they didn't lose their inheritance or their Abba because he slept with his Abba's wife or his stepmom. It wasn't because of that. It was because he broke the Sabbath rest. Right. Now there are certain things that will cause you to lose certain things like Reuben. Reuben lost out on many things, but he didn't lose his inheritance. Okay? So once again, Yahuwah wants to make sure that those that have a right to their land have a right to the inheritance. So let's finish reading and let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
And you shall speak unto the children of Yasharel, saying, if a man die and have no son, then you shall call his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance unto his brethren.
Now, hold that thought. Now you have to understand, Yahuwah is mindful, and and you have to understand, he wants everything that he had planned to follow in the manner that it's supposed to follow it. This is why every lot and every family was supposed to have an inheritance. Yahuwah made sure that nobody's inheritance would be taken or would be given to another person. That's how you know that he loves us and that he's mindful about a lot of things that we ourselves don't believe he's mindful of.
Right.
Now, once again, he says, and watch this, and he's mindful of it keeping or staying or remaining in the family. This is something that our people have throughout the years, and I believe throughout the generations, have really lost that zeal to keep certain things in the family. And so when it's all said and done, what ends up happening is that they end up losing so much because they'll sell it to a stranger instead of either willing it over to a family member or giving it. We've been taught, well, we don't want to give it to them because we don't know what they're going to do with it. It's better it stay in family and they turn into whatever they basically want instead of something that's going to be damaging to their own people. Keep it in the family. If they just let it sit, that's fine. But don't sell it. This is one of the things that we as a people have been notorious for. Why? Because we were taught that, we got it. So, we just sell it if we need to. No, you have to understand, when you have land, you have wealth.
That's right.
I don't care if you don't have nothing but a bunch of trees on it. You still have wealth because you have property. You have tangible wealth. And so one of the things that we have been taught through years is that sell it. We need money. We can't do nothing with it. I don't want it. Sell it. Instead of saying, no, before I sell it, I'll will it back or I'll give it. Or even if you're going to sell it to a family member.
Right.
But keep it in the family. Because when you break land up and you give somebody else the opportunity, people most of the time ain't going to stay there. They're going to do everything they can to get some more of it.
Yes, that's right.
But this is teaching us how we are supposed to govern ourselves. Keep your land. Keep your land in the family. Under this self.
And if he has no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his kinman that is next to him of his mishpachah. And he shall possess it. And it shall be unto the children of Yasharel a statute and of judgment, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And it is so.
And it's so. So when we understand Yahuwah is mindful and he wants that property to stay within the family. And I believe that we get experience while we're here. Are you understanding?
Yes.
We get experience with that by keeping and holding on to the land we have here in the Americas. Are you understanding?
Yes.
Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family, because when you keep it in the family, it keeps your family wealthy.
That's right.
Once again, and then we got to learn not to be selfish and greedy.
Yes.
Some people have all that land. And watch this. When I began to read it, you began to watch and listen to different ones like Dr. Claude Anderson, and you start listening to people like Dr. Umar Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Africanism. And when they began to talk about us as a people and saying how we have no real wealth, it's because as soon as we get it, we turn around and spend it or put it in somebody else's hands.
Right.
This is why I understand and I fully agree when it comes to interracial marriages. I don't believe you ought to marry outside of your race.
That's right.
Because you have to understand, when you do that, you take away. This is why they could not. And you're going to find out what ends up happening when we continue to read on. But when you marry outside of that, you have to remember, whatever is yours becomes theirs, and whatever is theirs becomes yours, and whoever passes first, that's who gets it. But you have to understand, once again, if you are married to your own, it stays within your own community. And so what ends up happening is when you marry outside of your race, that person that you marry is empowered by your economical wealth or by your wealth. So once again, then people start saying, well, that's just being racist. No, it is not. It's about preserving and trying to build our own.
That's right.
Are you understanding me? This is why when they marry, they get prenuptials. Because they want to make sure your behind don't get nothing. When you sign a prenup, that means that you can marry me, but you cannot expect to get anything from me.
Right.
And most of the time, in all honesty, you don't hear people talking about prenuptials anymore. Because people love folk. And then when it's all said and done, most of the time if you marry outside and you have to pay, everything they get from you, they take and invest in their own communities. I have yet to really see any of them come into our communities and invest. It's the truth.
That's right.
And so when we see these things, it becomes a problem to us because it's not building us up, but it's tearing us down as a people.
Right.
Now you have to understand, when Yahuwah understood, and he is our creator, he himself understands the importance of this and understands that whoever you marry and whatever is your possession either stays with you or leaves you, and it is important to him that it stays with us. That's why he tells us, or he told them, and even us, because we follow under that instruction to marry our own.
That's right.
Marry your own. And I know a lot of people don't like it, they call you culture vulture, when you start thinking, no, sweetheart, I ain't no culture vulture. I'm about keeping up and maintaining so that we can keep something. Because then when it's all said and done, let me ask you this, and movies like, shows like Dallas and all that, these are old shows when I was a little girl. You have to understand, there was not a melanated face in there for years. You know why? Because everything they did, they made sure it stayed with them.
That's right.
You have to understand, it was called Dallas because they lived in Dallas and they were the Texans and they had all this property and had all this land. But let me tell you something, they did not marry outside of their families.
Right. That's right.
They stayed within their race because they weren't giving up any of that property.
That's right.
Are we understanding?
Yes.
And so it's important that we understand. May not like it, but it's the truth. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, come on, let's read.
Verse 12. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Go up into this mount, Abarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Yasser. And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered unto your people, as Aharon your brother was gathered. For you rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, and you strayed from the congregation, to sanctify me at the Na'im before their eyes. That is the Na'im of Meribah in Kadesh, in the desert of Zin. And Moshe spoke unto Yahuwah, saying, That Yahuwah, the power of the Ruach of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in. That the congregation of Yahuwah be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And it is so.
All right.
And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Take Yahusha, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Ruach, and lay your hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the Kohen, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And you shall delegate some of your authority upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Yasharel may be obedient. And you shall stand before Eleazar the Kohen, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before Yahuwah. At this word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Yasharel with him, even all the congregation. And Moshe did as Yahuwah commanded him, and he took Yahusha and set him before Eleazar the Kohen, and before all the congregation. And he laid his hands upon him, and gave him a charge as Yahuwah commanded by the hand of Moshe.
Now, they had to follow the preliminaries because they were getting ready to go into, they were getting close to getting into the promised land. So it was now time for Yahusha to take that place and to be the leader and the giving of the land. The land has already been divided. The land has already been given. And so now Yahusha has the responsibility and the great esteem to take the children of Yisrael into the land and give them the land that is supposed to be given to them. So this is where we start seeing the changing of the guard. This is where we start seeing these things really come now closer, come closer in. And what I mean by that is that it's now getting ready for a shift. And so in that shift, everything has to run and move smoothly. All right, come on, chapter 28. Let's read 6 verses, please.
Chapter 28, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Command the children of Yisrael, and say unto them, My offering and my lekim for my sacrifices made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall you guard to offer unto me in their due season. And you shall say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which you shall offer unto Yahuwah, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering. The 1 lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb shall you offer in the evening. And the 10th part of an ephah of flour for a grain offering, mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil. It is a continual burnt offering, which was ordained in Mount Sinai for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahuwah.
All right, once again, the order is being put out and it is given. Seven, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And the drink offering thereof shall be the 4th part of a hin for the 1 lamb. In the set apart place shall you cause the strong wine to be poured unto Yahuwah for a drink offering. And the other lamb shall you offer at evening as the grain offering of the morning. And as the drink offering thereof you shall offer a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. And on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2 tenth deals of flour for a grain offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath. The Sabbath continual burnt offering, and his drink offering. And in the beginnings of your month you shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahuwah, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot, and 3 tenth deals of flour for a grain offering, mingled with oil, for 1 bullock, and 2 tenth deals of flour for a grain offering, mingled with oil, for 1 ram. And it is so.
And now, and the other lamb you shall offer at evening. Evening time prayer called Me'eriv. Morning prayer called the Shachrit. So these are the times of prayer that is basically exchanged with our time when our ancestors would go into the tabernacle or go in and offer up. We take prayer and we offer up our time, that time in prayer. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, come on, let us read, please.
And the 10th year of flour, mingled with oil for grain offering, unto 1 lamb, for burnt offering of the sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto you. And their drink offering shall be half a hin of wine unto a bull, and the 3rd part of a hin unto a ram, and the 4th part of a hin unto a ram. This is the burnt offering of every month throughout the month of the year. The 1 kidney goat for a sin offering unto Yahuwah shall be offered, besides the continual burnt offering and the drink offering. And on the 14th day of the 1st month is the Passover of the people. And on the 15th day of this month is the feast. 7 days shall Matzah be used. On the first day shall make up the dish. You shall do no manner of servile work to it.
So you read 6 verses? All right. Verse 19. And you shall offer a sacrifice made by fire for a burnt offering unto you, 2 young bulls and 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year. They shall be unto you without blemish. And the grain offering shall be of flour mingled with oil. 3 tenth deals shall you offer for a bull, and 2 tenth deals for a ram. And several tenth deals shall you offer for every lamb, throughout the 7 lambs. And 1 goat for a sin offering to make atonement for you. You shall offer these beside the burnt offering in the morning, which is for the continual burnt offering. After this manner you shall offer daily throughout the 7 days, the fruit of the sacrifice made by fire and the sweet savor unto you. It shall be offered beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And you decide. All right, 25. Now once again, order. We're seeing order here. Order. One of the things that's so important that we understand. Yahuwah believes in order. And so he's giving it and how it's supposed to be offered up. When is it supposed to be offered up? And so he is very direct and specific on how we're supposed to do these things. And it's so. All right, come on, verse 25.
Verse 25 reads, and on the 7th day you shall have a Mikra Kodesh. You shall do no servile work. Also in the day of the Bikurim, when you bring a new grain offering unto Yahuwah after your Shavuot, you shall have a Mikra Kodesh. You shall do no servile work. But you shall offer the burnt offering for a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year, and their grain offering of flour mingled with oil, 3 tenth deals unto 1 bullock, 2 tenth deals unto 1 ram, a several tenth deal unto 1 lamb throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats to make atonement for you.
It reads, you shall offer them beside the continual burnt offering and his grain offering. They shall be unto you without blemish, and their drink offering.
And so now 29 and 40.
Chapter 29, verse 40. And Moshe told the children of Yisrael according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And Moshe told the children of Yisrael according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe.
In other words, everything that Yahuwah told them, he did not keep it a secret. He said it all to them. And so it's important that we understand these things. Once again, as we read in this chapter of 25, the Mikbar, chapter 25, verse 10 figures, we see the instructions. We see what he did to stay a plague or to stop a plague.
Right.
We see where the children of Yisrael are then offered, or not offered, but are given instructions. Before they're given instructions, they are gone through a census again because people had died, so they had to do it so they can make sure that those that had large families would get the amount that they were supposed to get, and those that had few would get that little bit, but a little bit, even with the small ones, was still a lot for the families because there was a lot of families.
Right.
But so that equality would be in the midst. Then Yahusha is anointed and brought before Eleazar to have hands laid on him and to prepare to position him and put him in the position of the leader. And so we're seeing where things have come to a head. one of the things that's so important for us as a people is that we got to learn how to follow instructions and listen to the voice of Yahuwah. And a lot of things will be alleviated. A lot of times people are hot-headed and they think they know it and they think everything is just for them and nobody else. And this is where it's a problem. But as the children of Yisrael, we must always remember to look at the scripture and look at them from the eyes of the Ruach HaKodesh. Because she is the one who teaches us to be able to understand and interpret the scripture and be able to digest them. Now you have to understand, this is order that was given to us. Do you not know that that same order is going to be taken for us, and a census is going to be taken for us concerning the children of Yisrael?
Right.
This is why we can't afford to be acting like fools. We got to act like the children of power. And we got to act and allow the Torah to groom us as his people and as his children. And so it's important that we follow the scripture and look at the examples that are left for us and follow those examples so we don't be on the outside looking in when it comes to certain things. Once again, order had to be put back in place because look at how many times people were getting smoked and killed. We ought to be grateful and thankful that the mercy of Yahuwah covers us. Because if we were back then, a lot of us would have already been dead.
Right.
We've already died. But thank him for his mercy that covers us and he remembers his covenant. Right. And so once again, it's important that we read and we read with an understanding and that we look at the patience of Yahuwah and we look at how he has given us the example to follow on how we are to govern our lives. Now, once again, we know that there are times of prayer morning and evening. And then at night. Now, we know there are those specific times, but you can pray around the clock. And I believe that when you have a relationship with him, yes, those are the designated times. So we are supposed to pray in the morning and in the evening. But then at the same time, don't let that be your limit.
That's right.
Don't let that be your limit. Pray without ceasing. And then in our time of prayer, let us listen to see what he's saying to us so that we can move out in wisdom and not act like fools and act like this thing is just, it's just so hard to understand. It is not. The reason it becomes hard to understand is because people do not want to open up their ruah to hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying unto us as people. So once again, I want to encourage your hearts to be consistent in the scriptures. And if it's something you don't understand, pray about it before you jump on it.
That's right.
Pray about it, because that's one of the things that we are as a people. Some of us are notorious for just jumping on something and doing something and really don't have the full understanding of it. This is a problem with us as a people. And I'm going to tell you something, Yahuwah is going to judge. He's going to judge those that do those things, because when it's all said and done, one thing I've learned is that the Yehudim are blinded, and in their blindness, Yahuwah is going to bring them eyesight. There are things that I see, and unless Yahuwah puts it in my heart, and please, it ain't because I'm scared of them, because I'm not scared of anybody. But unless Yahuwah gives me something to say, then I understand, okay, they're blinded. And he said they're blinded for this time and for this reason. Then who am I to go try to take the scales off of their eyes?
That's right.
Remember, he said in scripture, his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not are not ours.
Right.
And so it's important that we understand he knows where they are just as he knows where we are. There are times that we've got to continue to maintain, and that's at all times, maintain our consistency and in the mission and in the course of the action that he has given to our hands and to our feet to fulfill, and not go into another lane, because that's when we get in trouble.
That's right.
That's when accidents can occur, because we're trying to get in something that we were never told to get into.
Right.
So I pray for those, and for the ones that Yahusha said, the prostituted sheep, and Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, the prostituted sheep, those who we are going after. Because those are the ones we know are blatantly doing this stuff. Now, for them that's outside and we know they're Yehudim doing crazy stuff, we pray for them.
Right.
Now, if you come my way, then it is my responsibility to reveal this to you. But for me just coming after you, trying to uncover your eyes, Yahuwah told me, he just told me to minister to the Israelites. And if I come across Yehudim, then yes, I have to minister to them. But as far as just going to try to seek them out, no. So I'm looking for the prostituted sheep of Yisrael, because those are the ones that he said, go ye into all the world and minister to, go get them. So once again, we got to understand, and a lot of our understanding is truly weak. A lot of people understanding this belief when it comes to the scriptures because we have no relationship with them. Neither do we have relationship with Yahuwah.
Right.
And when you have no relationship, it does no good because anytime you're trying to fight or trying to prove a point, it's mute. The only thing you can do is tell a person if that's what you believe, then you keep on moving.
Right.
And that's it. Block you. If you come back again, I'm blocking you because I'm not going to waste my time. Why? Because now you're trying to do something that Yahuwah has not told you. Because the first thing you do is you ask, you know, instead of you praying and asking, the first thing you get out is want to spray with your words and try to condemn somebody you don't even know what you're talking about. And so, once again, when we encounter these things, say it. If they come back with something else, don't even say nothing. Just cut them off. Because we're not going to continue. We're not going to be sitting up writing no 3 or 4 paragraphs trying to convince somebody. Because when it's all said and done, I'm not here for debates and I'm not here to fight you. I know what he's called me to do and I know what he's told me to do. And if you don't like what I'm doing and like what I'm saying according to the scripture and as I'm doing it, what it says in the scripture, then keep it moving. But you will not stop me and you will not come here to tell me I'm wrong. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Like I say, you better watch your mouth because you got your mouth twisted. Or you be fell dead somewhere. And let me tell you something, let your word be your word. Stop telling all this stuff. Our people are notorious for lying.
Right.
Don't put your word out there and then you don't fulfill it. Because now you become a liar. And we're notorious for that as a people. And you have to understand something. Yahuwah is preparing his people. And if we don't look at every aspect and every area of our lives, we're going to be left looking like some dummies. That's, I said, it's some dummies. Why? Because if we don't understand that we are to develop into the people of power, and to that people that are people of wisdom, and that people can look at our lives and truly follow our lives, something is wrong. And I'm talking about our people. See, because we all be trying to get everybody else to follow us except our people. No, I want our people to follow us because that's who we're going to get. And so it's important that we understand it. I want to say to you, as we come to the close of our class, but not to the close of our Sabbath rest, and it's not even begun. I want to say to you, those of you that are listening for the first time and tuning in, like, subscribe, leave your comment, and share the video as we've gone through our pre-Sabbath class. Torah portions of the Midbar, chapter 25, verse 10, all the way to chapter 29, verse 40. It's important that we understand what it is that Yahuwah is desiring to convey to us, his people: structure, order, and following and being obedient. The most of the people that died in Scripture died because of what? Disobedience. Disobedience, because disobedience led them into other places and they lost their lives. So I want to say to you, stay encouraged, keep your head up, keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, and know that Yahuwah didn't bring us here to leave us, but he brought us here and awakened us so that we could be a light that shines in darkness and in obscurity. It's important that you understand and that you stand in confidence in him and allow him to stand boldly and confident in you. And so on tonight, I want to leave these with your words. May Yahuwah Baruch you and keep you until we meet again. I want you to remember that I am Prophetess Sabrina Brown, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Great Relief Ministries, located in South Carolina. I want to also invite you to be in our 11 a.m., 11:45 class on tomorrow, where we will pick up, as Yahuwah willing, our Haftarah and our Brit Hadasha portions for our portion on this week in our Torah class. Once again, I want you to know we love you and we're praying with you. I want you to remember that this is the place where
the Torah does the body good.
Until next time, may Yahuwah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. And I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV. And it is so. And it is so.